And for those folks out there that did not catch the coverage with Cam concerning the early signings, please look that up on my YouTube channel and check out the coverage, of course, on State of the U. So the targets for the next week, who are those guys that are on the fence that could make this an even better class?
Going right back to American Heritage, there's 4 guys that Miami are after, and it's actually funny. The coaching staff is going to do their in-home visits with all 4 of these players today. As we're recording this, actually, they're probably in somebody's living room. But the first one is Nessa Silvera, defensive tackle, 6'2", 310 pounds. She's a U.S. Army All-American, been committed to Miami for a long time. He's strong. He's good on the inside, can play the 3 technique. On the defensive line, he can get penetration. He body slammed somebody in the playoffs and kind of flexed on them. And he was probably one of the best players during All-American week over other more highly rated guys, even 5-star guys. Silvera played better at the Army All-American game. And that's from all the reports from people who were there, saw with their own eyes, everything in the game, the week of practice leading up. So he's one of the 4 horsemen, as you call them, from American Heritage that Miami's after. But again, he's already committed in the class, and the expectation is that he will sign with Miami on February the 7th. The second player on the defensive line is Andrew Chatfield. He's a defensive end or an outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme, 6'2", about 225-ish. Doesn't have really extensive length or wingspan kind of things, but he can play. He had like 23 sacks as a junior, had like another 19 as a senior. So he's a very productive player. Was committed to Ohio State at the time, decommitted from them. And it's basically come down to Miami versus Florida, it looks like, for his commitment. It looked like he was going to commit to Florida a while back. They had a coaching change. Then Miami finally offered him after withholding that offer or not giving that offer for a while. And he's been quoted as talking about Miami being a dream school, and that offer meant so much because it's the hometown and things like that. But even with that being the case, it seems like a Miami versus Florida battle for him. So that'll go down to the wire. So those are 2 defensive linemen. Numbers 99 is Silvera, and then 9 is Chatfield. And then you got 2 cornerbacks who are probably the top 2 corners in this class overall in America, and they play on the same high school team. So, if you wonder why, or part of the reason why American Heritage repeated or three-peated as state champions this year, it's just because you couldn't throw on them because, you got these guys on either side of the field. So the first one is Tyson Campbell, 6'2.5", probably about 195, 200 pounds. He does have great length and size, good speed. He was the 100 and 200 meter champion in the state of Florida for their classification on the track last year for American Heritage. So he's big, he's tall, he can fly, he tackles well. He does pretty much everything you want from a cornerback. He was a 4-star kid pretty much throughout the cycle. Everybody says he's a 5-star now. And yeah, I mean, he's just like awesome. So, I mean, why wouldn't you want him on the team? Especially with, Miami losing cornerbacks and the unfortunate career-ending injury to Malik Young exacerbating that situation. Obviously, you want multiple guys at that position. Now, we do have a couple. Miami does have a few guys already signed and on campus for cornerback, DJ Ivey, Gilbert Frierson, who could play either corner or safety. He's on campus right now, and he's going to start at cornerback, but you'd like a 5-star day 1 starting kind of guy. And Campbell can be that guy. So he's a guy that Miami's going after. A lot of the talk right now is that Georgia is in the driver's seat for his commitment at this time, but Miami's not going to go down without a fight because he's too good. Like, we're not just going to let that slide. I mean, he might go elsewhere, but it's not just going to be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it doesn't matter. No, we're going to keep recruiting him. And then the other guy is a name that you've probably heard before, is Pat Surtain Jr., who is the son of the former All-Pro Miami Dolphins cornerback Pat Surtain, who also for the last couple of years was the American Heritage High School head coach, who coached his son and Tyson Campbell and Andrew Chatfield and Nessa Silvera and other guys going other places and who have gone other places. Brian Burns from Florida State, Anthony Schwartz, who's going to Auburn. There's a multitude of amazing players from American Heritage. Marco Wilson was at Florida. He was there also. So, yeah, Pat Surtain Jr. is the other guy who's at cornerback. He's 6'2.5", almost 6'3", 195, 200 pounds. And he's probably one of the top 2 or 3 cornerback recruits in the last 10 to 15 years. I mean, across that span, he's the truth. Just period. I remember seeing him at a 7-on-7 team tryout when he was 14, and his footwork was better than 18 and 19-year-olds that time. And it wasn't really even close. And he just kind of came to get a workout because his dad was there, and, you know, his friends were there, you know, and everything. Cool. All right, I'm going to go. And we're just like, wait, who's this kid? And that was, you know, PS2, as they call him. So he's there, and they're going to visit him. LSU in the driver's seat for his recruitment. But Miami, again, not going down without a fight, at least making a push, stating their case, as it were. So Pat Surtain, all 4 of those guys, Patrick Surtain Jr., Tyson Campbell, Nessa Silvera, and Andrew Chatfield will probably be on campus at Coral Gables this weekend. Now, Chatfield already took his official visit, so it will be an unofficial, as in he would pay for himself, drive himself down. Anything that happens, he would come out of his pocket for. The other 3 are going to come on official visits this weekend. So the 3 of the 4 horsemen, and they're working hard to get Chatfield to come down as well. Another guy who Miami is targeting right now and is going to visit this weekend is Jamarcus Chapman from Rome, Georgia, 2-time state champion. And he's a defensive tackle. He's about 6'2.5", 260 right now, but he's stockily built, so I'm sure that he can add on extra weight and size as it moves forward. But this is a kid who can play. He's a 3-star rated kid, but I mean, he was committed elsewhere previously in the cycle. LSU is where he was committed to, and I mean, he's from Georgia, and he's very impressionable, is the impression that I'm getting. And in that, anywhere that Jamarcus Chapman visits is the best place ever. It's like, oh my God, like it was so cool. And I saw the facilities, and then like we're going around and the fans are talking to me. And then obviously, like, you know, the young ladies on campus are amenable to my presence, and, you know, all these things. It's like, oh, it's great. So, you know, that was, you know, Florida, or then, okay, or Tennessee, and then next week it's Florida State, and then now it's Miami, and you know, I've been committed somewhere else and almost committed to another 5th school on top of that, and, you know, those kind of things. So hopefully Miami getting the last visit with Chapman will pay off. But, you know, there's that. Obviously, on top of that, Jordan Miller just committed this week, and he's going to be there for an official visit this weekend as well. So, you're really looking at Surtain, Campbell, and Silvera on their official visits, along with Miller and Chapman. Maybe get Andrew Chatfield, who's the American Heritage DN, to come down for an official, and maybe somebody else. I don't really see any other pop-up visits or secret visits coming. The only other player to mention as a target, right now is wide receiver Marquez Ezard. He's from Georgia, Stockbridge, Georgia, and his high school's colors are white and green and orange. So hopefully he comes in this class. He's 6'2", 215 pounds. He's a bigger wide receiver, kind of in the I'm trying to get a Miami comparison here. Maybe a Leonard Hankerson kind of thing. I mean, the real comparison is like a Anquan Bolden. He's just like bigger and stronger than most people. So he's not going to create a ton of separation, but he's going to muscle you. And I hate to use a player from another team because I hate it when they always compare their players to our players, but the comparison is really on the level there. So Ezard visited last week. He was committed to Florida State previously, and he's the player that Miami's looking at for the 4th wide receiver spot in this class to go along with Mark Pope and D. Wiggins and Brian Hightower. So those 4 guys are all different in their interaction on the field and their skill sets. So hopefully last week's visit to Coral Gables locked him down. So that's like 7 or 8 names. But yeah, you're really looking at Ezard, Chatfield, Chapman, Silvera, Campbell, and Surtain Jr. As the guys who are on the board still for Miami as we move forward to National Signing Day number 2. And Jordan Miller, sorry, forgot him.
And of course, Anquan Bolden, not one of those like all-time jaw-dropping kind of guys when it comes to when people think of the very best wide receivers of all time. But when you're talking productivity, it gets no better than Anquan Bolden. Very few out there have forged the NFL career that guy did. There's no question about that.